Hey guys, welcome to Dreamcoin, where we show you how to invest for a better tomorrow. My name's Tyler, and today we're going to be going over Entera Bio, or ENTX stock, why they ran so much today, what they do as a company, and where I see the outlook of them going forward. So we're just going to briefly touch on what they do with a more detailed overlook of their treatment of osteoporosis, but they do work within hypoparathyroidism and osteoporosis. Hypoparathyroidism is generally just your thyroid being underactive and producing certain elements of your body's processes, which usually the treatment would just be giving somebody calcium and vitamin D. And so they're trying to figure out a treatment that would be more efficient in aiding that. And then for anybody with osteoporosis, it's going to be a deal in where you could have easier bone breaks because your bone density is low. And this could be for any number of reasons, but basically it's progressive and it can lead to a lot of difficulties later in life, especially as somebody gets older. And Entera Bio is taking the approach of trying to heal the bones with parathyroid hormone, which would allow for not only helping out just bone density and stuff over time by allowing the bone to harden naturally with stuff the body needs to sustain itself, but also for hypoparathyroidism, it could possibly help stimulate that process to get the body up to the way it needs to be regulating certain components inside of it. They chose the oral drug delivery route not only out of a factor of convenience, but also due to the fact that it can allow for more patient and doctor access to these treatments. And this is actually important to bring up for that fact because they were given a patent through the European Union for the way they're going to be transporting their treatment, basically kind of like the formula makeup and different things that would coincide with that. And that gives them a bit more protection on their formula in the European Union, which is promising in the sense that they seem like they're pretty confident in what they have being a more viable solution for a lot of people and bringing a lot of value to the marketplace. And this brings me to why they were pushing over $7 today, because they released a report that was based on the treatment more based around osteoporosis and data endpoints relating to that. And before we get into the details of how the data came out and why it's going to be important for them in the future, is that they are going to be looking to do an FDA review with them for their development program basically any time now in the next few months, just because their original plan was to do it at the end of phase 2, which they just completed with this data. And this would be the first treatment of its kind for what they're developing in a oral bone building agent, and basically just a way to stimulate the person's body to retain more bone density and improve upon it regardless of current conditions in their body. It had a good safety profile for it with no serious adverse events happening, which is a good sign when you go for FDA approval, because there's going to be less questions on the matter of if this is actually beneficial versus the risk of downside for somebody using this treatment. The primary endpoint was achieved within only 3 months of treatment after this study was done, and this was due to a factor called P1NP being a significant increase in the levels from the original starting point of patients. And if you aren't familiar with P1NP, which I wouldn't expect you to be, it's going to be a type 1 procollagen propeptide. And this is basically just a biomarker used to see how the reformation of bone is happening over a certain amount of time. So obviously this can give a lot of data on how effective the treatment actually is in improving bone conditions inside of patients. This is going to be great in general for the company for the long term, due to the fact that this now sets them up to apply for a possible FDA decision within the next 6 months to possibly get it towards the end of the year, or get something set up to where they can hit it first or second quarter of 2022. So this could be a nice jump from even current levels after it's ran today, just based on knowing those catalysts could be coming up. These are the most significant price targets given out by analysts as of right now. And while I'm making this video, the stock price is actually a little under $7 right now. I think it's about $6.70. Even most analysts have a price target of at least $9 on a low end for them, with a high side more to the $11 to $12 area. I'm going to be looking into a significant long-term target that we could be looking at with ENTX, just based on one of their main competitors in the space being Radius Health. And what Radius Health usually deals in is treatment of postmenopausal women with osteoporosis. This was actually FDA approved back in 2017 and it has has been on the market for people that need this as a treatment. To put this into perspective of how undervalued ENTX might be, I'm going to be bringing in market cap a little bit for you guys to kind of visualize. So right now, RDUS has a market cap of $888 million, and at their $26 peak was $1.2 billion would be a rough estimate. ENTX's current market cap is only $176 million, and this is where we can bring in a little bit more calculation into where they could be possibly in the future. So remember I said Artis had a market cap of $1.2 billion back when they were $26 a share. ENTX at a price of about $1.18 billion market cap would trade for over $50 a share. So that would put them almost double currently what Artis is sitting. And this is also more backed up by the fact that they are trying to treat more than just a specific subset of osteoporosis. They're looking to treat that as like an entire kind of facet of their business. And so this looks great for their long-term process. They've already traded back over $10 last year, and this could be a nice buy-in as you watch for it to settle back into a reasonable price to buy based on the fact that they have a good couple years ahead of them most likely. Something to keep in mind is that institutions have been adding positions to them more and more lately too, and 17% of the outstanding shares are actually owned by institutions right now as well, which leaves for a good foundation for the stock going into the future. Now, as we look at them over the last couple months, they've been kind of consolidated around this 280 area as a general support, and it's been reversing pretty nicely since the end of March after their stock had dropped significantly from earlier in the year. And after they came out with their top line data, they shot over $8 for a little period of time when they squeezed upwards. Now, this is also because they're pretty low float, so it's easy for the stock price to move, which makes it even more incentive to possibly get in now when it's lower. But for me, anytime anything runs 50 to 100% in a day, I'm going to be expecting some sort of pullback at some point, whether that be over a couple weeks or a month or whatever that time frame is. And with this being a long position, I think you have plenty of time to get in. There's going to be waves and stuff that go in with the market cycles as we get into the next few months, and I don't think they're going to be coming out with too much PR necessarily in FDA soon, besides some statements saying, hey, we might be preparing our submission to go to them, that kind of stuff. And so I'd be looking for this to settle back down between $5 to $6. You can start a small position here if you're interested in getting in. Obviously, leave yourself room to buy down. I wouldn't be throwing the house at it yet, and just kind of let it see where it comes back down to. I think reasonably over time, this could hit between $5 and $5.50 again if you keep a close eye on it, so that'd be a good, nice price for you as well. Short term, I'm not going to throw out any crazy price targets because I do think they could have potential to run with the low float, more attention being put on them right now, but also I would just be wary that there is that chance for a pullback. And then I'm going to reiterate my long price target of them over $50 going into the significant future for what they have planned ahead of them. I cover a lot of pharma and biotech stocks on this channel, and this is going to be a good playlist for you to get into if you feel like you want to see what more stuff I've covered looking into the next long-term while for price targets, or just new interesting companies that you might not have heard of before. Other than that, that's going to do it for me in this video today, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.